Yes. So, good evening and welcome to another episode of Her Journey, where the H.E.R stands for Healing, Evolving, and Redefining Women. And we are so excited about this podcast and this venture that we've been doing, inviting amazing, powerful women to come on and share their stories, their testimony, because we know that we are overcome by the word of our testimony as a way to encourage other women, to empower them, uplift them. And this is just one way to do that. So we have been on this journey finding amazing women. And tonight we have found another beautiful sister. I kind of call her my daughter or Loki.
Yes.
that I've had the privilege of knowing for several years now. We met through church, and I've got the opportunity to watch her evolve and grow and just come through some things. And on the other side of that, it is just beautiful to watch how powerful and how God is using her. She's also an author, and so proud of her. I got to be at her book launch. It was a beautiful, beautiful afternoon outside in her yard. We had a beautiful lunch. It was just amazing. So she is the proud author of, you will also see it in the screen, but a book that I have. I'm the owner of one of her books. It says, I am done believing you. Move from the lies you believe and discover your truth. So this book is incredible. I read it from front to back. She shares her testimony, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about that, but incredible accomplishment. She's just doing some amazing things. So I'd like for you to introduce yourself. I'm going to talk a little bit about your book in the beginning. The title, how did you come up with the title, the inspiration behind the book? And so I'm going to turn it over to you and let you take it from there. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Cassandra. Happy to be here in your podcast and be one of the women that you just continue to share their stories with. So thank you for
Yes.
her journey, right, for your podcast.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm happy to be here. So yes, my name is Muriel. Muriel Lillian is the name that I wrote under. That is my first and middle name.
Okay.
And I wrote under that name particularly because it's the name my mama gave me. And
Okay.
she named me after herself. So I wanted,
Nice.
and she's no longer here anymore. So I wanted to just own that name that she had given to me and as a tribute to being her daughter.
Yes.
Um, so I write under Muriel Lillian, but I am a longtime employee in the insurance industry, disability industry. I am a mom of several children, some of my own for biological children, and then of course a lot that I've allowed into my life, God-given children as I call them. A grandma now, and I'm enjoying that, and just a busy family lifestyle. So that's kind of who I am on the basis. But my book, you want me to go into the inspiration on the book?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Tell us a
So
little
the
bit more.
huh?
I said, tell us a little bit about that.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, great. Yeah. So the inspiration behind the book was after being married for almost 20 years at the time. It wasn't quite 20 years. We had celebrated our 19th year anniversary. And we had gone through a lot of challenges together. There was a lot of infidelity in our marriage. There was physical, abusive, emotional, mental things
Yeah.
going on in my marriage, struggles.
Mhm.
Trying to raise children, like they don't always do what you want them to do. So that dynamics, and it was just a lot
Yes.
going on in our home. And after being with that person for so long, I was very young when I married them. And after being with them for so long, I just kind of felt lost. Like I didn't know who Muriel was anymore, who I am for myself. I knew who I was when I was a young child in my
Yeah.
parents' home, growing up, still confused about growing up in that home too. But then when I left at 18 and then immediately a couple years later into a marriage in my early 20s, and
Yeah.
then to spend 20 almost 20 years with someone, you lose yourself, you become what
Yes.
everyone else wanted me to be.
Absolutely.
And so when I was on that other side of, okay, now we're separated, I'm gonna go through a divorce, I started journaling and trying to figure out how do I identify for myself, who am I, who do I want to be,
Mhm.
um, what is God telling me to be? I've been someone that's been going to church for a while and then
Yeah.
just still feeling lost after being, going to church for so long. I just felt lost, like I didn't know who I was. So that was, I journal all the time. I'm someone who write my thoughts down. I've always journaled as a child, even. I write music, I write poetry. I just am a writer, just for my
Mhm.
own thinking. Notes. People laugh
Yeah.
at me because I have notes on everybody. If you owe me
Yeah.
something, I got a note about it. But anyways, they tease me about my notes, but I'm a note taker. And I just someone, I was sharing my story with other people and my friends, and people say, "Have you ever thought about writing a book?" And so I took all my journaling and all my notes and all the stories and my adventures and was able to connect with the publisher and get it put into this book to share different sets of my life or different spaces I was in my life
Mhm.
and how I didn't really, who I thought I was wasn't who God wanted me to be in that space.
Mhm.
And so I had to take those stories and self-evaluate what was God showing me through that and who am
Yes.
I on the other side? What's my truth? Moving on
Mhm.
from the lies and discovering my truth. So that
Yeah.
was really the inspiration behind the book, just trying to self discover who I am on this other side of divorce. And now your children are becoming adults. And where
Mhm.
do I fit in for myself? What do I want to do for myself?
Mhm.
Who's God calling me to be? Because I've
Mhm.
been something to everyone else. So
Yes.
that was the inspiration behind the book.
Yeah. That's awesome. And can you
Mhm.
tell us like where we can find the book?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the book is still available on Amazon and it's also available on Barnes and Nobles. And I need to, and I need soon because it's been a year now. It's a year on October 3rd, make it expandable so some of the smaller bookstores can have it. So that's on my to-do list to do so it can be more expandable. But right
Okay.
now, currently, Amazon and Barnes and Nobles
Okay.
are the two websites that you can go
Yeah.
to find the book. Yeah.
Is it available audibly yet or not yet?
Yep. Yeah, it's an Audible book. Yep.
Oh,
Hmm.
nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
So
And
that's what iTunes and yeah, iTunes. Yeah, it's definitely
um,
an ebook, Audible book. Yep.
oh, that's good. That's good.
Hmm.
Yeah, Kindle too, right? Because if you can you
Yeah,
buy it
so
on Kindle?
Kindle.
All those
Anything,
things.
yeah,
Okay.
from Amazon, yeah, because Kindle's
Yeah,
part of
Amazon
Amazon.
Kindle
Hmm.
connected. Okay,
Correct.
amazing, amazing. Oh, so you that's
So if you want to
I'm
hear
so
my
proud of you
voice.
because that's a step up. When we got the book, we just I read it, which was awesome, but it's nice to know it's on Audible. So if you're driving, you can listen to
Hmm.
it. So that's awesome. I'm glad that it's available.
Yeah, and I have people in my family who was like, I don't read books, but I listen to them. And I was like, okay, so I wanted to make sure I had everything available.
Yes, cover all everybody. Yeah. So
Hmm.
it's so awesome. And I just want to say like I to see you now and to, hear you speak and talk like and to watch that whole process as I was saying, it's just beautiful. It's just showing God's handiwork and what he can do if we just
Yeah.
totally get out of our way, get out of our own way and like that you took that journey of self-discovery and so many, I'm going to say women, going after divorce or whatever, they don't take that journey of self-discovery to really find out who was I. I myself was married for 25 years and then after divorce it's like, okay, you're so busy being everything to everybody else. It's just like I
Hmm.
went through that discovery. Like, what do I like? Like, I
Right.
remember getting my hair cut short for the first time, going to get a full body massage, just
Yeah.
changing my wardrobe, working out, changing my. I was like, okay, I do. I like the color purple. Okay,
Right.
because you're so involved. So I'm when I keep saying I'm so proud, I am that you
Thank
actually
you.
did that because many people don't do that for themselves. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's a blessing. It's definitely a blessing. So we're
Yeah.
going to get
Thank
into
you.
some of these questions. I know I sent them to you and, I
Yes.
said we don't really have a particular format. We just kind of let it flow. And based on the questions, we may, ask another question. So when I was
Hmm.
thinking of the questions, I guess I'll start with who is the biggest influencer or cheerleader in your life and
Hmm.
why?
So right now, and I saw that question and I'm like, oh, who is it? I mean, I'm surrounded by so many women that are in different stages of their lives, my family, more so different family friends,
Yeah.
cousins, nieces, sister-in-laws, aunts. We all just are so supportive. I'm happy to be part of a family where the women really do support each other.
That's
But when I
all.
think,
That's
yeah, when I
exactly.
think
That's
about
amazing.
Thank you. When I think about
Yeah.
my biggest influencers, I don't want to put any one
Yep.
person on it. I
Yep.
really feel like women. I used to have this feeling of I didn't like women, right?
Mm.
I was a tomboy and I didn't like a lot of the cattiness and things that came
Yeah.
with women. And I never wanted to be that. But, there's women, and again, for different reasons, they are who they are. But
Mm-hmm.
I learned that I can learn from them no matter who they are. And
Yeah.
so I had to challenge myself to get closer to women, never mind just the ones I know, but closer to women that I don't know. And
Yeah.
so that is my biggest influencer right now. I have
Yeah.
women in different stages of their lives.
Nice.
I've met some and I want to meet some more. And I'm
Yeah.
just so intrigued by the different stories. So I just really right now have a passion to be influenced by all women, depending on where they are.
Okay, that's a good answer because it doesn't, because that, it can change. Yes, like I say, in certain seasons, depending on where you are, that person can be different. So just learning from all women in different stages of where they are, that's a beautiful answer, Right, ask a question. When you were just
Yeah.
talking, introduce yourself, something struck me. It says you were discovering who I was or who I was as opposed to who God wanted me to be.
Mm-hmm.
That just struck me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to um, kind of go with that? That just struck me right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
are you able to kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because for me, I just want to be who God wants me to be, regardless of all this stuff. This week has just been crazy in America,
Mm-hmm.
but I just want to be who God wants me to be in the midst of that. Yeah. So can you, that just struck my heart. So are you
Yeah.
able to kind of elaborate on that? Because it is a discovery,
Yeah.
like you were saying, after you got divorced, myself too, twice divorced. Um, and it's that discovery. Yeah. It's just so profound to me, because that
Yeah.
sets the tone for all of these other things. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And I brought tissue on my desk just in case we cry.
As I was
I was like,
coming
let me have
downstairs, I'm
some
like, I
tissue.
forgot my tissue. And already right
Oh,
now, I'm like, I need tissue.
yeah. So I felt worthless per se. I felt like I didn't deserve love or
Mm,
I
yeah.
wasn't beautiful or
Yeah.
it's hard to it still brings emotion, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And God didn't want me to stay in that because that's like
Yeah.
depression, that self-mutilation of who He
Yes.
called me to be. I am beautiful. I am
Yes.
smart.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
a good mother. I'm
Yes.
a great wife. I didn't deserve to
Yes.
be treated the way I was treated.
Yes.
Um, but I didn't believe those things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it just took me through that journey of I had to believe that for myself. So now I
Yes.
know that. I know that I'm a great mother, even though maybe my children aren't always
Yeah.
the pristine children. I
Yeah.
treat my husband right. I'm a good wife. If he treats me wrong, it's not my fault. It's on
Right.
him because he's messing with something that God designed and God made. And if he doesn't appreciate, that's his problem, not my problem.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but I had therapy, therapists,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of prayer time with Sister Jackie here, just sad about
Mm-hmm.
why didn't I believe that for myself?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
That's
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah. Yeah.
Finding a way to
Well,
believe who really God says we are as women, who we are for our family, what we deserve, um, and living that truth for myself, regardless of the people around me and how they're impacting me in a way.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question. And so I would say to that, so what was moment or the what turnaround to make you go from not believing that to believing it? Because somebody's going to be stuck right there. They're like, okay, I hear her say, I went from here, and on this podcast, we want to give people the how of the story. So whether
Yeah.
it was affirmations, what was that pivotal moment that made you start seeing yourself different?
And the one thing we do believe, you therapy and Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Absolutely. And I actually found a Christian therapist. So, you find one that believes in the Bible just like you, but is trained in family and marital things and relationships.
Awesome.
The pivotal point for me, honestly, at first was a therapist. And sorry, my nose, because I'm crying.
It's okay.
I went through so many, and she said something to me that I just never thought that I would hear.
Mhm.
And she's like, I hear you're upset. I hear what they're doing to you or he's doing to you, or you feel like your kids are ungrateful or whatever the case. You're not appreciated at work, because I was going through work stress. As women, we try to climb that corporate ladder and I wasn't getting opportunities. So it was a whole conglomerate of things.
Yeah.
And I just was sharing everything. And it's almost like I just wanted someone to hear me that this is wrong. Like, do you agree? Like, this is wrong. Like, am I crazy, or am I really being treated in this type of way? And she heard me and she goes, I can tell all those things are wrong. If you need someone to validate, what you're feeling, what you're seeing what you're seeing. It's the truth. She goes, you're upset. It hurts you, all of that. But she goes, when are you going to get angry? And I said, angry. And she says, you're not angry yet. Until you get angry enough at those things that are imposing on you, causing you the hurt and the pain, to choose yourself over those things, you will never overcome those things, and you will never put yourself in a different situation. And I'm like, a therapist telling me to get angry? Because they always tell you to be calm, let's talk about it. But she says, you need to be angry. You are not angry until you're angry enough. And so ultimately that was always in the back of my ear. And just that one day, that final straw happened, and I was very angry on that day. I will say, out of the norm, but I chose to say, you know what? I don't care. I'm done. Get out. And I'm moving on, regardless of the financial stability that was just about to get rocky, because it was rocky right after I made that decision. I don't care what I got to do. If I have to move into a 1-bedroom apartment with my children and whomever else, my people that stay with me, and we all just do it. I sleep on the floor. You have the bed. I don't care. I don't need this cozy king size bed right now, because I need to be free from this, and I need to choose better for myself. So until I got so angry and mad that I was no longer scared to trust God, because I was so scared to walk out on faith, like, oh my God, if I go by myself, am I going to be able to afford it? Is he going to help me? I was so scared and crippled by my stability in that lifestyle. So I had to be okay to trust God that no matter what I choose, he's going to carry me through this. And I didn't lose my house. I'm still in my big old house with my kids, and we've been making it by myself. Before I got remarried, I was making it by myself, but I had to trust God and I had to be willing to lose it all those material things that kept me in that place for so long.
Wow, that's so powerful. I feel like you just set somebody free right just now when you said that. That how, like, you've got to choose yourself. And to get angry. I love that. You know what I mean? Like, and like this is the moment. We're done. It's it. So thank God for your therapist.
And it was no ping pong after that. It was no more like taking you back, no more. I don't care. It was hard. It wasn't easy. And you was with me on the phone anytime of night, crying me through. But I was crying, but you was praying with me, but getting me through. And it was hard to not look back, and to not regret or second guess that I make the wrong choice, but it was the right choice to choose me to
Yeah.
choose, my relationship with God
Mhm.
and to know that God had something better for me.
Yeah, yeah. And even though, I remember some of our conversations, like, even though you can't see it right now, on the other side of this, it's peace, it's joy, it's
Yeah.
liberty, it's waiting for you. But you gotta be able to step over. And I can understand those fears because I was gripped by that too. Like, I'm gonna stay for this reason, I'm gonna stay for this reason. And, me having a special child with special needs too, I'm like, who's gonna help me with that? And no, one day I was like, this is it. We're done. We're done. And just that was that moment when I drove away. I ended up leaving my home because that was the part like, okay, I have the house, the kids, but then it was just like the back and forth. It was like God was showing me like he's not leaving. Like you're gonna be back and forth. So you know what? I even left the home. And so just for peace sake. And when I got my new apartment, I didn't have anything. I just had a blow up
Right.
bed. But the peace I felt,
Yes. It's priceless.
it was priceless to put that
Yeah.
key in the peace I felt. And then, people started blessing me, giving me things. And I mean, when I left
Yeah.
there, I came in empty, but I left full. And
Yeah.
so, and God was very strategic, even with my move. He was this from my house to, so he was telling me what to take and what not to take.
Yeah.
Don't take
Mhm.
that. Don't take that. And I had some of my friends like, you've been married for 25 years. You gonna let her? This is not about
Yeah.
that. Where I'm going, I can't take some of this stuff can't go with me. Where God's showing me where I'm going, it's my peace. And so I just
Yeah.
followed the instructions. I followed the instructions. I followed the
Yeah.
instructions. And so, and it is scary.
Yeah.
And there is feeling like, I'm 2 house income. Now I'm a 1 house income. How am I gonna do
Mhm.
this? Who's gonna watch my son after
Oh,
school?
yeah.
All these different things. But when I stepped out, like God just provided,
Yeah.
everything I needed was provided stepping out of that comfort zone. So
Absolutely.
it is an amazing
So
journey.
we're
And
waiting on her book, right? Muriel,
Hmm?
we're waiting on her book, right?
Yes. Yes.
I got
Yes.
several.
Yes, yes.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
so that empowerment you feel, and it's not about boasting, it's just about just that confidence, that God confidence, right? Because it's not ours, it's
Yeah.
God's confidence that He gives us to just keep going. So thank
Yeah,
you for
and I
sharing
Thank
that.
definitely,
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I
that
was, when you
was
say not boasting, I wasn't the one out there telling everybody what I was
No,
going through. People
no,
didn't really know that
same
I was
here.
getting a separation. They just thought, oh, he ain't showing up at church this week.
yeah.
I tried to maintain everything for my kids that it was seamless to
That's
the point, other than,
that's
yes, he's
very
not
important.
here.
Yeah, you did.
But I wasn't a gossiper. I wasn't out there
Nope,
telling
you were
my
not.
business. And I really took it to God. I really kept it
Yeah,
in my closet, took it to God, prayed about it, had my
yeah,
routines, my prayer lines, my music, and
yeah.
I was in peace. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Wow.
And we'll probably talk about this a little bit further, but I just
Yeah.
wanted, since we're talking about this, like even her going through all that, like God has blessed her, to stay in a house, but He's also blessed you to be remarried
Hmm.
and
Yes.
she has an amazing husband. I got a chance to meet him at the book launch. Just like I love his
Thank you.
spirit. And so
Yeah.
this still show you can go through and come out and God can still like bless you
Yeah.
to get remarried. And the fact that I love the fact that you because some women come out bitter, they're not gonna believe in love
Hmm.
again. Did you
Hmm.
have doubts about finding love again? Did you desire to find love, maybe not right after,
Yeah.
but you know, how did that process go for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So God showed me in a dream that I was going to be a bride again, right? So I feel like I've
Okay.
had this dream where God's telling me that I am a bride, like all the things that I didn't believe I was. God told me,
Yeah.
no, you're a bride. You're going to get remarried. You're going to have your love.
Wow.
I even feel like I've seen him before, but not faces. Just that I knew my
Yeah.
man was going to be in church, on what side of the church he was going to sit in. Like
Oh
I
my
already
goodness.
had that vision,
Praise
and
God.
ultimately it kind of came true. But I
Yes.
definitely didn't want to be bitter, and I didn't want to be angry. And even though I feel
Yeah.
like I went through so much with my ex, like I can talk to him now. We're cool. I never ever acted out
Yeah.
against him,
Yep.
even with the new mistress who he then went on to have more kids and get married with. I never treated anyone inappropriately. There could have been so much animosity there.
Yeah,
And I
definitely,
never
definitely.
treated anyone and I prayed for them. And I learned that through this other prayer line that I had to pray for him and
Yes,
her
yes,
if I was going to heal from that hurt. So it was
yes.
hard to pray for your
Mm-hmm.
ex-husband and their mistress who's pregnant with his new child.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to in order for me to not be bitter and angry. And I never wanted a wall up, to subject another man to,
Yes,
the
yes,
hurt that I've
yes.
had from
Mm-hmm.
someone else. And so God showed me that I'm a bride. I feel that I'm a wife. I have good wifely qualities. So being a wife
Yes,
again was something that I wanted to be, but I wanted it to be in a positive
yes.
relationship. And I had to
Yeah,
trust that God was going to bring that to
yeah,
me. So I never had bitterness and I worked on ridding myself. I'm not going to say I never thought negative, but when I
of
did,
course.
I
Yeah,
put it in the atmosphere of God to help me with it.
yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That is amazing. I think that that is really, because I always think marriage is it's a ministry. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that that is really will speak to women, and I hope that it will, because you have to be, that's part of moving on.
Yeah.
And if you really want to be true with God, you have to be able to do that. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily that you'll be friends, say, hey, come on over. But I think it's
Right.
just so important that that just reflects your relationship with God, and the
Yeah.
strength that you have and the trust that you had. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
can hand that over to him, that's the important part, that you're actually able to hand it all
Absolutely.
over to God. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the one that works it out. So I
Amen.
just think
Yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah. Because we know
Thank
when
you.
if we can be a wife, when you know what you are capable of and what you can do. But it's so nice to see that you've grown past that, when you
Mm-hmm.
didn't think. And it's amazing how we have these preconceived things that I'm not pretty, I'm not this, I'm not that. But God doesn't see us that way.
Right.
He doesn't
Right.
see us that way. And as it's so, sometimes it's just so hard, but it's such a blessing if we can. So I love this podcast because I wanted to speak to so many women. Yeah. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing how if you put 100 women in a room, probably 95% of them will probably have that, honestly. And
Right. Right.
I'm not sure where that comes from, other than just the enemy really trying to tear us down. But literally, I
Mm.
think it would be so many more people that actually you would never know because they carry themselves this way, that way, that way. But we really don't always think of ourselves how God sees us. Yeah. So
Right.
thank
Right.
you so much for that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just think that that is so important. It's such
Yeah.
an
Thank
amazing
God.
testimony. Absolutely.
Yeah. Amen. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yes. So when you know, like you said, that is a beautiful thing and that's what God wants us, yes, for us to see ourselves as he sees us. Because when we
Mm.
look through our lenses, we see the flaws and all the other stuff that's
Yeah.
so cloudy. And then and so that ability to even desire to even say, I want to be what God says I am and not who
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I am, is really, really amazing.
Yes.
So if I were to ask you the definition of success,
Mm.
how would you define that?
So success for me personally,
Yeah.
is if I've grown, if I've learned something, um, if I've achieved something from any of my experiences, anything, like this book, it may not be racking in millions, but I feel that this was a success for me to get my
Absolutely.
story out
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
So if I like learning even from you sitting here today, if I could take something away, to me, this is
Yes.
a success. I'm all about just continuing to take the nuggets and grow and like how you're evolve as one of your words in healing,
Yeah.
evolve and redefining. I'm all about evolving right
Yes.
now. And so
Yeah.
if I can see change in myself, to me,
Yes.
that's success.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Mhm.
That's awesome. And speaking of acronym, when you hear the words healing, evolving, and redefining, give me 3 to 4 words that describes yourself.
That was one of the harder questions. So, you know why? When I was looking at these words, I would write down things, and these aren't my 3 words, but I'm going to say what I wrote down. I would
Yep.
write down things like I'm inspirational, or
Yes.
what did I say? I wrote down inspirational. I wrote down, like, I was thinking of things that I was, but to me, I said, these are things that I am that impact other people. It's not
Mhm.
really like, where do I see myself?
Okay, got it.
So
Mhm.
I wrote down, like adaptable, resilient, resourceful. But a lot of times, like being resourceful, that's for someone else.
Oh.
That's how I was thinking about it. So I
Mhm.
finally chose the 3 words that I want to say. For me right now is restoring. I'm
Mhm.
restoring myself into truly who I believe God says I am. And there's work that needs to be done because I was broken.
Oh,
I need to
yeah.
be fixed. I'm
Yes.
transforming. In doing that, I'm transforming. And then still growing, allowing myself to still be grown. I don't want
Yeah.
to ever feel like I've achieved so much that I
Yes.
can't grow. So I
Yeah.
chose restoring, transforming, and growing because I wanted these words to really be about me
Yeah.
versus I know like who I am to other. Like I
To
had
other people.
trustworthy, but that's for other
Mhm.
people. For me, so restoring, transforming, and growing.
And I love that coming from the English person that I am. I was always so product conjugated. But when you put the ing, that's actively. You're
Mm,
restoring. That's actively. You are transforming. That's actively, and you're continuing to do that. So I love
yeah,
that because
Process.
it's not like I have restored myself. You are
right,
actively doing it, and it's continuing.
exactly.
I like that. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I was thinking along the same lines that those are words that mean like in process.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so as I always said that the journey is not a destination.
Yeah.
Like it's a journey. So we're
Mm-hmm.
always we should always be continuing looking to grow, develop. And
Yeah.
so no one has arrived. And if you think you have arrived, okay, hang out for a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
always something else to stretch us and to make us grow. So those are 3 amazing words that you chose. That tells me who, and I know you said not about who you are, but it tells me the type of person you are, that you are continuing to be on this journey of
Mm-hmm.
who God wants you to be,
Yeah.
self-discovery.
Yes.
So you're
Yeah.
still a work in progress. You're not saying,
Yeah.
oh, here I am, I've arrived, I wrote my
Nope.
book. You're saying, I'm still a work. There's more of
Yeah.
me. It's more that God wants me to do. And so in order to get to that, I have to keep restoring myself,
Mm-hmm.
transforming as I learn those things and I transform,
Yeah.
and so that's a beautiful, I love those words.
I
I
told
love
y'all I
those
took notes. I
words.
really did homework for that.
Yeah. You gave that
I know.
very good.
I
I
was
got an
like,
A
"Ooh,
plus
this is
on
a
that
good
assignment.
question." Yeah. I was like,
You
"Ooh,
gave
how do
that
I
an A
describe
plus.
myself?" Thank you.
Another thing we like to talk about on this podcast is self-care. So we
Yeah.
like to say self-care is not selfish. We, especially as women, we're taking care of everybody else. And, at the end of the day, like we're just like, okay, what's left for
Mm-hmm.
us? So it's
Yeah.
important that we take care of ourselves. As I always say, as they say on the plane, put the mask on yourself before you put it on someone else. And so we have to learn that self-care is not selfish. And the more we take care of ourselves, the better it is for those that we engage and
Yeah.
we surround. So
Yeah.
because we're giving them the better of ourselves. So with that said, how do you fill your self-cup, your self-care cup?
Yeah. Well, definitely around my ladies. We literally talk every day.
Nice.
We have a little video group chat that we just put little nuggets in. It's not live, it's just like we drop nuggets and we share every day.
Oh,
And so
nice.
supporting one another every day, sharing stories every day, that's definitely fuels me with self-care.
Yeah.
Um, I walk on the weekends, taking long walks with a little crew. We're up to 5 miles now. I'm so excited. And that's
Oh
been
my.
mainly because I have a neck injury and I have a back injury. And so I couldn't even really walk too long. So to be able to walk 5 miles, it
That's
still
awesome.
struggles uphill. I still have pain walking uphill, but
Yeah.
I get through it. So those are the type of things like I look forward to that.
Yeah.
I do, things with my daughter. So me and my daughter are having a daughter. I only have one, but having a daughter is just such a joy. My mother only had me.
Yeah.
I only have one. A lot of women in my family have one daughter. And so sometimes when you go through that teenage phase, you're like, do I even like this kid? But now that she's an adult,
Yeah.
and just sharing time with her. So her and I have a little, I'll just say a skincare esthetician appointment that we go to. It's like a
Oh,
BFF
nice.
appointment.
Yeah.
So we go there together. And so I get to spend time with her and share that with her. Like we plan for that together. So I just am trying to just keep myself surrounded by women and do the little things. I started getting my nails done when I got separated.
Yeah.
I used to do my own nails, like little things just to treat myself. And one thing that I'll share that is a huge self-care because it's coming up for me. I lost my mom and I always wanted to honor her. And she was someone who I'm cheap, I don't want to say cheap, I'll say frugal. I don't do a lot of splurge spending. I'm not a spender. I
Yeah.
don't like shopping. My friends think I'm weird because if they're in the mall too long, I'm just like ready to go.
Yeah.
But my mom would be there for days and I used to hate it. So to honor her, I will spoil myself. I took her birthday as a holiday for me. So I don't work on her birthday. Her birthday is December 1st. And then I tend to plan because I'm still a planner. I'm still a budgeter. I'll plan like what am I going to buy myself every December 1st. So every year it's just something that I look forward to trying to spoil myself. One time it's a designer bag. One time it was, maybe a good shoe.
Yeah.
I do music, so I bought some music equipment so I could record my
Yeah.
own stuff. But I wait for that day to really
Oh, that's
spoil myself
awesome.
and
Nice.
say, what is going to be my birthday gift
Yeah.
to myself and my mom? Because she used to always buy herself gifts and always buy me something too.
Oh,
So I'm trying to
nice.
keep that on. So I made my mom's birthday a holiday, and I look forward to things like that to treat myself.
That's awesome. I like that.
Did you say her birthday was September 1st?
December?
Oh,
December,
December.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
so it's
coming up.
coming up.
So
It's coming up.
I don't know if I can say what I'm trying to buy right now, but me and my best friend
It's okay. We won't
we're
make you
both
say it.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
me and my
okay.
best friend have a plan. So she's my mom's like other daughter too.
Yeah.
So me and my best friend are gonna buy something special for that day this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think that's
I
really,
love
really
that.
nice.
I love
think
that.
that's really nice.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it is important. I think we have to do stuff because, like what I shared, I forgot who I was, and I often took care of everyone else. And when you cook meals, I always cook what everyone else wants. So now it's like, what do I want to eat? What are my favorite foods? So I do some of that. My
Yeah,
lobster is
it's
my
those
favorite,
small
so I
things
treat
that you don't
myself.
even, yeah, the
Hmm.
small things like that you don't even think of. Like I like getting up earlier than my kids when they're young, whether it's to sit there and have a cup of tea for 15 minutes.
Hmm.
My because my car was like I wouldn't even play music. Like it was in
Hmm.
silence. I just wrote home in silence. That's my war room. I be praying in
Yeah.
there. It's like
Yep.
it's just like that moment to myself. And I like to work out, kind of watch what I eat.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But self-care is definitely important. And when I'm doing those things, like, reading my word or saying my affirmation, getting my day regimen, I feel good. I feel good. If
Yeah.
I'm rushing, if I'm late and I'm kind of off that schedule, like sometimes I'll be like, okay, why is this day not feeling right? And then remember, okay,
Right.
you didn't get to do this, you didn't get to do that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's important to make it a priority, not just like I'll fit it in here, like make it a priority because it becomes a better you. And
Yes.
then
Yes.
everybody benefits from that better you versus when it's depleted you, my patience is a
Yeah.
little different.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. Kids used to be like, oh, okay, all right, what's going on? I'm just like, I just need a moment to myself.
Yeah.
So it is, and women, we wear so many hats, but it is a priority to do it.
Right.
Yeah, we need to make ourselves.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah, make ourselves a priority.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
And
mad
I
I
know
wasn't
we
doing it a long
probably,
time ago. I'm like, oh man, we should have been.
yes,
I'm like just so
ex-
surprised, but it's joyous now though, and
Yeah.
my husband is supportive because if I say like, oh, I'm gonna buy myself and da 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 da, and it costs this much, he's like, okay, like he doesn't even give me a hard time.
yeah,
I'm like, all right,
yeah.
like, are you sure
Nice.
you want me to do that?
That's that blessing from God, because he's
Yeah.
like,
Amen.
sure, okay,
Because
because
he
he
always
knows
says
that's
you
important.
deserve it. You do so much. He
Yeah,
says he
That's
yeah,
always tells me
awesome.
you deserve it. Yeah. Mhm.
that's good. Yes.
It's so we probably kind of talked a little bit about this in the beginning, but what is one of your greatest challenges and how did you overcome
Mhm.
it or what you're doing to overcome it if you're still in the process? So if you can share
Mhm.
a little bit on that question.
Um. So, well, got to read
Is
the
or
book, right?
was.
Those were the biggest challenges I wrote in the book so far. I just feel like, oh, it's only been a few years. I'm just starting to live again. Um, but the greatest challenges, without giving a spoiler, I definitely believe, um, like we said, we talked about just overcoming um, that um, feeling of self lack.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
because when I really think about it, that crippled me from taking
Yes.
challenges,
Mhm.
seeking opportunities in my
Mhm.
career, setting like
Mhm.
my education. It took me 17 years to get my bachelor's degree because I would put it off because if my ex would start to not be available to watch the kids and I'm trying to
Mhm.
go to school after work and then because they're
Yeah.
out on the streets, then I'm like, well, no one's home with my kids. So I sacrificed
Yeah.
my education,
Yes.
my career
Yeah.
advancement, things to that effect. So getting over that was the biggest challenge where I was
Mhm.
able to, I put
Yeah.
myself back in school in 2013. So I
Mhm.
graduated, not, I know we don't like to say age, but I had an associate's degree right after high school, 2 years.
Mhm.
And then it was 17 years trying to go to school part time here, a semester here for a bachelor's degree, where
Yeah.
I just started all over and I went to an accelerated program in 2013. And kind of like what you were saying about the car, that's when I said, in order for me to be able to focus on school, I had to cut out the things that took up my time to study. Like, so I used my
Yes.
car for, you know, things that would grow me at
Yeah.
podcasts, listening to things. I had to cut out music. I had to cut out the TV and all the sitcoms that I used to love to watch. I gave
Yes.
up, like I was someone who drank alcohol like a lot, and I come from an alcoholic family, so I quit drinking.
Yes.
I just did so much at that time to just really get myself right that my mind could be able to go to school.
Yeah.
I still worked full time. I still took care of my kids, and then at night tried to study. And I came out, top of my class and to get
Amazing.
my
Amen.
degree. So that's
Amen.
one of the challenges that I'm so proud of because I really went through so losing both my parents, losing my mom.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it was a huge challenge. I worked, say, 20 miles one way, and then I would have to come home, cook dinner, get my kids ready, and then drive an hour and a half to where she lived to take care of her, come home late and repeat, like, and do all these things.
Yeah.
So those are my greatest challenges, but I had to make room for, again, the self, assessing. Had
Yeah.
to say, what do I need to do if I want to achieve this, what do I need to give up that's taking my time away from it?
Mhm.
And can I be faithful to the choice that you want your degree? How are you going to get it and stop allowing other people to get in the way of it? And so
Yeah.
my son, he was in college. He went to college in 2012. And I just always said, well, I'm always telling these kids to get that degree, and I don't even have one. So it was like a race. I needed to graduate before him. Ultimately, we graduated one day apart. So I was just so
Oh,
happy.
oh, that's
We both got
good.
our degrees, but he still beat me because he technically graduated the day before. But
That's okay.
that was just like a huge challenge for me.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that challenge.
I was just
Definitely.
thinking, I'm
Yeah.
proud of you too, because you literally gave up simple things that people think, but watching your favorite TV, this and that, like to me, that's just inspirational. You know, that
Mhm.
you were so focused. That's amazing that you were so focused that you're like, I need to do this and I want to do it. And then you did an accelerated program while working full time. That's
Mhm.
I'm so proud of you for doing
Thank you.
that.
Yeah.
You know.
I love the ability that you have to do inner reflection.
Mm.
Like to me, like listening to you go inside, like you reflect on, like, a lot of times we like to blame everybody else. Well, if I didn't have to do this, or if I didn't have to drive, I don't have to go for my mom, come home and cook dinner, and then go here and sit. I love that you don't make those your go-to. It's like, okay, what is it that I need to do
Yes.
to make this happen? You have
Mhm.
that you should be proud of that. You have such
I
a,
am.
as I'm listening to you, that inner ability to go inside and inner reflect and start saying, okay, I'm not blaming anybody else. What does Muriel need to do to get this degree? All right,
Yeah.
I need to cut out the TV shows. I need to not, whatever, all the different things you said. And so that's so amazing, because most of us be like, I got these kids and I gotta go take care of my
Mhm.
mother. But you don't do that. And so
Yeah.
that's a superpower.
That is.
That's a
I
superpower
must say.
Oh
that
That
gosh.
most
really is.
women don't
Yeah.
have, because they will be like, well, I would have got my degree, but I had to raise my kids.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, okay, I got these kids, but I still need to get this degree. So I
Mhm.
consider that a superpower to me. And
Yeah.
then just hearing you talk about, what does God want? Or how does God see me versus how I see myself? What does He want? Like, you have, I would say that's a gift to go in and
Thank
have
you.
that inner reflection. And I feel like you have the ability to help other people go in and do that inner reflection to see what it is that they can do to change their circumstances,
Yeah. Yeah.
regardless of that circumstances. So let's listen to, I'm like, that's a gift
Yeah,
that
that's
you have.
definitely a passion. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely
I'm
something
so excited.
that
This is
it's like it's coming through just my faith and again trusting in
yes.
what I know and who I am and
Yes.
not and again putting the fears down, because I
Yes.
definitely don't know it all, but I just said if this is something I want, how can I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it
Yeah.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
stop
And
making excuses, no more
yeah.
excuses.
Yeah, and that's what people can relate to, because it's not about, like, oh, like you said, knowing it all. It's about sharing your experiences, your testimony, because I believe that, as I often say, that there's an audience for each of our story.
Yes.
Like,
Hmm.
just tell the story. The
Yes.
audience will find your story.
Yes, it will.
The
Right,
people
right.
that who is meant to, attract, it will find your story. And
Yeah.
so, thinking of that, I was leading into the next question. It's like, what do you believe is your purpose?
Mm.
And I know sometimes that word gets overrated, but kind of, because I think I kind of like did a little tidbit of what I thought your purpose is.
Yeah,
But what do
no, well,
you
yeah.
believe your purpose is?
Right, right. And I agree. I feel that it is with women and mentoring women and with sharing stories. I know I need to again grow myself further in there's things that I still want to learn about, like studying my Bible habits, different things that I want to put into practice to really be able to have those tools and resources to help people.
Yes.
Like I want it to not just like I'm so natural to talk to people and share stories and I'm not judgmental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very like an unbiased person, so I can hear
Yeah.
the argument on both sides and don't judge. I don't want to say I'm a therapist, but I just really appreciate both sides, right? And I can
Yes.
try to see, where the communication gap is. But I desire to have more ability to really put some of these things that have helped me down that
Yeah.
can help others so that I can truly just share my story, but really show people the way if I can.
Yeah.
And again, because how I said earlier, like I didn't really like women, I just think it's funny that my purpose is with women, and inspiring women. And so I'm accepting that and now just trying to hear that call and make sure that when I do, I want to make sure it comes, heartfelt, it's
Yes.
truthful.
Yeah.
It's not my way isn't the best way. I want to
Right.
help someone find their way and
Yes.
whatever experiences I can share to assist them. So that is my purpose. I don't know why he gave me that, but for some reason he did.
Yeah.
And I've been enjoying the journey, growing with and again connecting with women and men too. Like it's not like one of the things that the questions at the book launch was like, what can men get out of my story?
Mhm.
And so that my son gave the best answer, and I didn't, pay him for that answer. But what he said was that he read the book, and what he said was that it helped him have some additional insight into like his wife now and maybe what she had gone through and the experiences that she could have had in different previous relationships and see how he can be a better husband to her
Yes.
or a better
Yeah.
brother to his sisters or in his family. So I think that whatever I can do to help men also
Yeah.
just really understand why women are the way they are or your woman is the way she is, because a lot of us have a story. A lot of us have pain and things that shaped us into that. We don't
Yes.
often understand why we're that way.
Yes.
And so we
Yeah.
fight and there's tension in relationships
Yes.
because we don't understand one another's past and we don't know how to grow together.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to say I'm only secluded to women, but I just hope that through speaking to people, mainly women is where my heart is, helping them grow and connect. I feel like that's going to bring me joy. So if it helps them, it just, you
Yeah.
know, it
Yeah.
just, I think I'm doing something that God has called me to do.
Absolutely.
That's really insightful
Yeah.
for a young man. That's really wonderful. I like that. And I think if men were open up their mind, that's really what we need, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, really what we need.
Hmm.
Awesome. So what would your grown woman today say to your little girl?
Hmm. What would I say? I didn't take notes on this question. I read it, but it puzzled me. What would the grown, and I didn't know which ones you would ask too. So what would the grown woman say to me? I
Say to the
would
little
tell
girl.
her, yeah, the little girl. So little Muriel. I used to be called
Yeah.
little Muriel because my mom was big Muriel. So what
Oh,
would I
okay.
say to little Muriel? You're worth it.
Yeah.
And I would tell her she's worth it.
Mhm.
And how do I say it? But trying to say it tastefully because I have
Just
some
say
fresh ways of saying it now,
it.
not for the public, but
She's
like,
worthy of love.
just
She's
basically
worthy.
like the book, don't believe the lies.
Yeah.
You're worth
Yes.
it and don't believe the lies is what I will say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yes. And that's what, I mean, that's huge. Like, because a lot of us grow up with that.
Yeah.
I always say when you heal the little girl, the grown woman will rise. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So we grow
Yeah.
up with, just things that people say or things that we've experienced. And, and we carry that in that little girl.
Yeah.
And, we just gotta learn how to heal her, set her free. As I say, she wants
Hmm.
to rest. She wants to rest.
Yes.
So we just have to do the work
Yeah.
to heal her. And that's what a lot
Yeah.
of people, they want the results, but they don't want the work.
The work, right.
So,
It is a lot of
so some
work,
of us
but
stay comfortable in our
Pain.
pain. It sounds funny
hmm
because it requires work. And
mm,
and we just don't want to deal with that. But I declare if you do the work, it can be painful, but on the other side, it's so much better when you go through that process of healing.
yeah,
You can now look back and we're like, you know what, we were resilient.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
made it. So
yeah,
we have to embrace the work, which I
yeah.
feel like a lot of people run from.
Yeah.
And
So
that was something I definitely learned. And when you said comfortable in our pain, I was complacent was the word that I used to describe myself. And then I did a little assessment, like, who taught me that? Who taught me to
mhm.
be a strong woman, hard worker, good mother, but to be complacent in an unhappy situation? And I realized
Mhm.
I learned that from watching my own mother deal with
Mhm.
domestic
Yes.
violence, work 2, 3 jobs,
Yeah.
work hard, take care of her kids, And I used to ask her, why are you with daddy? When
Mhm.
I was a kid. But I
Yeah.
couldn't even ask myself, why are you still in that situation?
No,
So I
no,
became complacent,
really.
seeing strong women accept
Yeah,
less than they were deserved,
yeah.
that turned into my reality. And
Mhm.
so,
Mhm.
yeah, we have to do the work to heal that little girl because it is so much better on the other side.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
thought of that when you were talking about what you're
Hmm.
doing on this birthday. And my mother used to say, she never did that. She never got it, stuff like that. And I think that's the one thing I do for myself. And I think a
Hmm.
lot of times we do learn stuff from our parents.
Hmm.
The things, watch my mother go through this, and you watched our aunts, and wow, yeah.
Yeah.
We learned if we took the time to do the work, it's amazing how we would find
Yeah, see the connection.
yes, to
Yeah.
see the
The connection.
connection of
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we may sometimes see our parent going doing something, and be like, I'm never gonna do that. And then you find
Right.
yourself like,
The
Right in
exact
that
same
same
did
thing.
that.
situation.
Yeah,
Did
Hmm.
that.
yeah.
So, because it's a learned behavior,
It's a
whether you
learned
realize it or
behavior.
not. And so breaking that cycle,
Yes.
because now you break
Hmm.
that cycle, and then you'll break that cycle over your daughter. And so, like, it's
Yes.
a
Right.
generational thing. When you break that,
Yes.
it's now you teach
Yeah.
your daughter differently. And so, and
Right.
then you get to break that cycle. So, and then
Yeah.
I'm sure, like
Absolutely.
with your
That's
mom,
the
she
goal.
probably, your mother, God bless her, she probably learned that from somebody. Like
Yeah.
maybe she saw
Mm.
that. So we pass it down
Right.
um, until someone says, no, it stops here.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's amazing to, go back and make that connection.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what impact or fingerprint would you like to leave on the planet or be known for?
Oh Lord. Um, what do I want to be known for? Oh Lord. It's like so tough. Because I just want to be known as a good person, I think, ultimately.
Mhm.
A good friend, a good person, a child of God, um, I'll say a soldier in the army of the Lord for women. I want to be known that I did something with this part of my life
Yeah.
that, like you said, that legacy, something's gonna
Yeah.
break. I would like to be known for, like, when my I just had my first granddaughter. I'm so happy. She
Ooh,
was born
I
on October
know.
1st.
Isn't
But
it
I would
great being a
love for,
grandparent?
oh yes, I enjoy my grandsons, but I got this little grandbaby girl now. I'm like, oh, I just want to love up on her. But I just would love for her to be like, you know what, my Mimi was strong. My
Yeah.
Mimi helped so many women. If
mhm.
my grandbabies and like my daughter's children, when she has them, and future family members, or even people whoever's lives I touch, can remember, there was this woman. Like my family know about you, Jackie. They know how you helped me. So they don't really know you, but they know who helped me.
Yes.
So if
Mhm.
Yes.
someone remembers me as I helped someone they love,
Yes.
that's all I can ask for.
Yeah, that's beautiful. As one of our guests said, and I love that, I was thinking of the other day, because sometimes when we ask people, going back to purpose, when we ask people what their purpose is, they get like I don't
Oh my
know,
God.
like
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it, and I'm like, and I'm always saying it's not that hard. It's that thing
Yeah.
that you love to do that you would
Right.
do if you didn't even get paid to do it.
Yes.
You're probably
Right,
doing it and
right.
don't even know. But
Right.
sometimes I think we
Yeah.
think it has to have a name, it has to be definite, it has to
Or
be
great.
recognizable by other people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't have to be that. It has to be so, leaving that imprint of one of our guests, when we asked her that question about the imprint, Kim, I don't know if you remember, she goes, there's a song that says, if I can help somebody
Yes. Just thinking
along the
about
way, my living will not be in vain. She goes, that's my
Amen.
purpose.
Yeah.
And I say, I love that. It's so simple,
Yeah.
but it's an old song.
Yeah.
And I said, that's it. Like, it's
Yeah.
not, if I can help somebody. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes. And so your desire, you love to help women.
and you're doing it.
You are doing it.
You are doing it and
Yeah.
killing it.
You are doing
Thank
it.
you.
So,
This is
yeah. And that's why we want this platform to
yes.
have
Mm-hmm.
these stories told.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, God, we just want the woman next door. I mean, you
Yes.
got the
Mm-hmm.
stars, the Oprah, the Viola Davis. I said, no, I want these
Yes.
because there's some incredible just women that are out here just killing it, doing it in our communities. And so we want a platform
Yeah.
for them to come and talk about how their testimony, you know, and so
Yeah.
people knows like, okay, you see me now here today, but
Yes.
I don't look like what I've been through.
Yes, that
You
part.
know,
That
I don't
part.
look like
Mhm.
what I've been through, and this is my story, and you can do it too. Like this, you
Yeah.
know, and so if you need help, like we're here to grab your hand,
Yes.
to pray, to talk, to
Yeah.
you know, we just want to be a part of the community
Yeah.
that uplifts sisters. And I know, I mean, eventually we may have some men on here. I think we've had one.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
and I've had some men that ask me, like, why didn't you have men on here? I said, well, because it's her journey.
But we'll have it.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the acronym, but the letters healing, evolving, and redefining can be
Yes.
for anyone.
Correct.
So we may entertain, but you know, I was like, this is, you know, me kind of talking about the journey that I went through, and Cassandra, the
Yes.
journey she went through, and just kind of sharing that empowerment with other women.
Yeah.
But we'll have a man on
We
here every
will.
once in a while. We definitely will.
Yeah. Why
I
not?
like what
Yeah.
your son said. So if this helps a man, it's great.
Yeah.
I send
Right.
when I send them out, I send them to men.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
we need understanding of one another.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. Yes.
They say men are
Correct.
from Mars, women are from Venus.
One of those planets.
We
Right.
don't know about
to
that.
help us understand one another. And I think that that's also that connection to help us grow together. If
Yeah.
we can just help one another also.
Yeah.
Male,
And it's to be
female.
respectful. Yeah.
Yes,
Be
yeah.
respectful of one another.
Definitely.
Yeah.
'Cause we just, like I would say, we just think with different sides of our brains.
Yeah, that too.
But
Uh-huh.
that's, you know, but how do you now bring that together and bridge that
Yes.
respectfully and all of
Yeah.
that thing? That's the work. So
Mhm.
Yeah. Because we all
yes.
need, and men are impacted by hurt women. And then the
Yes.
hurt women create more hurt men.
Hurt.
And like, you know,
Yes.
the hurt women hurt our sons, right?
Yes.
And then our
See?
sons might have issues with other women. So it is a cycle. It's a full
Cycle,
cycle.
yes.
Mhm.
That's why, ooh, that's awesome. Yeah,
It's
that's
important
good.
for
That's
everybody.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's why it's important that we heal that pain.
Yes.
So don't pass it off to our children, our sons, and now they
Yes.
encounter somebody.
Yeah.
and-
Yes.
Yes, yes. So what would you say if I asked you, I am? How would you complete that?
Oh, I wrote notes on that one, but let me see if I still want to say that answer. So I wrote, I am strong.
Mhm.
And the reason why is because, again, I felt so worthless and weak. So I need to really resonate on my strength that I do have that
Yes.
wasn't appreciated. So I wrote, I am strong.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Awesome.
I like how you said you need to resonate on it because you were weak. There's a purpose and reason.
Yeah.
And so you identified why. I like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Not just I'm strong, this or that.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
really, because, yeah, there was,
Yeah.
I have to trust that, like you said, affirmation. We talked a little bit like, was it
Yeah.
affirmation? Like
Yeah.
saying those things to myself is really
Yes.
what helps
Yes.
you to walk
Yes.
in it.
Yeah.
And when you feel defeated, you're going to
Mhm.
walk defeated.
Yeah.
And so I had to feel like I am strong
Yes.
to do
Yes.
this.
And
I
having those
am enough. Yeah.
affirmations are important. Like I like to put mine someplace visible where I can read it, you know, and say it to myself, and I tell people repeat it. Even if you aren't feeling it, say it.
Say
You
it.
know, keep
Mhm.
repeating that. And so you know, like I tell them, I am beautiful. The Bible says that you are wonderfully and fearlessly
Yeah.
made. How can you
Yeah.
not be beautiful? You are made in his image.
Right.
All things good.
Absolutely.
So just we got to retrain that message in the brain to say that, and it takes repetition to do that. And
Yeah.
so
Because society puts its own explanations on what they think is beautiful. And
Correct.
that's what we see. But
Yeah.
that's not from God. We have to understand that what God said about us, not what society
Right.
says, not what the movie says, not what God says about us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think my last question would be
Okay.
love is.
Oh, love is. Got a good answer for that. So I I told you guys I'm a writer, journalist, or whatever. So I use a lot of other people's quotes. And
This is
so I wanted to go through a series. It was supposed to be a calendar because I also take pictures, like a little hobby. I like to take pictures. So, and I love nature scenes. So I was trying to make this inspirational calendar for myself because I spend money on these
oh.
all the time. So I was
Mhm.
like, well, how can I come up with an inspirational calendar? But was one of my inspirations. And I won't say it verbatim, the quote. So I came up with my own quote and I made sure I prayed about them, Googled them to make sure no one else said did my little research.
Yeah, all
But
right.
just some snippets out of that. My definition, love is treasurable,
Mm.
love is respectful, love is honorable,
Yeah.
and love is a good four-letter word.
Oh, yes, I like that one.
Because everyone always says
Never
the
thought of
four-letter
that,
words is
actually.
bad,
Yeah,
but love is a good four-letter word.
I like that. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Very good. Very good. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's one more.
Okay.
Sorry, so what would you title this chapter of your life? Like this season
Oh,
of your life?
yes, I wrote that down. The chapter of my life. So I'm gonna play off of my current book. I am done believing you. Move on from the lies you believe. Discover your truth. The next chapter of my life is God's not done with me.
I like that. I love that. I love that. Amen. And he is not done with you, sister.
Mhm.
He
So
is
we're
not.
still
He
writing
is-
that story.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I can't wait to read your book. I just see.
I'll be leaving this for her tonight.
Yes.
It's a
You've
quick
just
read. Thank you.
inspired me so much. And that you said, who am I supposed to be? Who am I opposed to who God wants me to be? Just
I think that's your message for tonight. You keep coming
Yes.
back to that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I cannot wait to read your book because that's
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
excited. I
It's
cannot
an
wait
easy
for this.
read. Like I read it like
Yeah.
that night. I think of that night and the next morning I was done with it in 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I can't wait for Jackie to finish this and drop it because I want to share it. There's
Yeah.
so much in this, and each guest that we have, I feel like we're just building.
Yeah.
We're just
Mm.
building, and you have been an amazing step. And I just want to thank
Oh, thank you.
today.
Thank you
I
for
mean-
having me. I appreciate that so much.
You're so
Yeah.
welcome. You know, and when
Yeah.
I saw her at the book launch, I went up to him. I was like, "We're gonna be starting the podcast." That was what, last October? When was your launch?
Yeah, it's been a year.
And
October
I said,
3rd. Yeah.
I want you to
October
be a
28th.
guest.
hmm
I want you to be the guest. And it was such a beautiful day.
I know we had
It
a
was
great
like,
day.
it was
Oh,
beautiful.
like
It was
October.
beautiful. It was beautiful.
That's the picture. So the picture in my background with the microphone, that's me in
Yeah,
the
that was her
backyard.
in the
That's it.
backyard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a backyard.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
beautiful.
the trees, the fall leaves on the trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I said, we're starting a podcast. We hadn't even started yet because we didn't start till January.
Yeah.
And I said, I want you to be a guest on the podcast. She was like, absolutely, let me know. And here we are, like a year later. I wrote that. I
Yeah.
was like, it's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna take a year,
And
but
it
there
was
was a
great.
reason for that. And so she was
Yeah.
like, absolutely, let me know. So
I'm
here
happy
we
to
are.
be
I'm so
here.
glad you had
Thank you.
you were able to do this.
We've had some
You know,
amazing
this has
guests.
been we have had, and you included.
Yes.
But this just does us all the good too to hear
Yes.
these stories, and to even just to know you. I feel blessed, and to be like, oh, like, she got a book. She's an author. And just to see how you've grown, and the best is yet to come.
Amen.
It's
Yes.
not over, and you just getting started. And so, definitely keep us in mind. And we will keep you in our prayers. And
Absolutely.
we have enjoyed this thoroughly. Thank you
Yes.
so
Yes.
much for doing
Thank you. I
this
have to. I appreciate you
taking the
both.
time. And when